Hey, how's it going out there, everybody? Hope everybody's having a great day. It's time for some trucker news. Got some great stories for you today. Number one, high cost of doing business in Q3 hurt Werner's profits. Big gains on equipment sales are coming through right now for these big carriers. I mean, we can imagine, what they're selling these used trucks for. The federal appeals court has put the vax mandate for large employers on hold for now. ABF has closed on the Molo for $235 million. Truck parking is basically unchanged according to the data since the Jason's Law was passed. And a crash folds a car in half with a semi-truck landed on top of it. That was the thumbnail. It's an interesting story. Does not end like you think it would. All right, let's get to these stories. The first one, Werner got hit with high cost, hurt their Q3. It says hurt their long-term margin target. So what happened was the price of doing business went up on them. It says a multitude of costs caused Werner to miss analyst third quarter expectations Thursday. Some of the expense increases are transitory while others are not. Werner reported adjusted earnings of 79 cents a share, which was 10 cents better year over year, but 16 cents lighter than they thought it was going to be. Werner says increased driver sourcing, higher pay, investments in driver schools were headwinds, and the per mile company driver miles was 20% higher in the quarter. The increase in liability, health insurance claims, and expenses were 10 cents per share headwinds compared to last year's 15 cents earnings drag compared to the second quarter. So Werner said, in a word, miles were a major problem in the quarter. Derek Leathers, chairman, president, and CEO, said on the call, parts shortages led to increased equipment and driver downtime. So, even these big guys are not immune to market forces, So let's get on to more about this equipment and, all these things going on. It says, don't sweat the big gains on equipment sales. It says many records were set by truckload carriers during the third quarter of this year. It says, including line income statement often overlooked by the industry observers, gains on sales with truck demands at record levels and new equipment tough to find. Values in secondary markets have soared, and so too have the gains fleets are booking as they swap out old tractors for new ones. Somebody was asking me the other day, why would somebody trade in a 2019 trailer and, for a 2021? And I said, well, they probably paid for the 2021 a year or two ago, because they got all this contracted out. I said, they probably swapped a 2019 for the same price as a 2021. They got a new trailer for basically an even trade. That's what's going on with equipment sales. So, a lot of these, big carriers are, moving money around right now and getting new equipment basically for nothing. It says Schneider National recorded $29.3 million in profits from selling equipment in the quarter. Almost $30 million profit just selling equipment in a quarter. And it's true. You go to Schneider's website, look at the prices on some of these trucks and trailers they're doling out here. It said more than double the amount booked in the second quarter and significantly higher and undisclosed and likely immaterial amount recorded in 2022. So basically, in 2022, they didn't make no profit because they was selling equipment and buying equipment. But this third quarter, they made $30 million just selling equipment. Schneider did. Here's a story that's going to be near and dear to a lot of people's hearts. It says, courts issue emergency stay on Biden's administration C-19 vaccine mandate. All right, so federal appeals court puts vaccine mandate on hold for now. U.S. Court of Appeals in the 5th District issued an emergency stay Saturday on the enforcement of Biden administration's C-19 COVID mandate. The appeals court questioned the constitutionalness of the mandate in its decision because of the petitions give cause to believers there's a grave statutory and constitutional issue with the mandate. The mandate hereby stayed pending further action by this court, a document said. So as of now, it's off. ABF, it's a done deal. ArcBest, we know them as ABF. I guess they're considered ArcBest now that they're buying up all this stuff. ArcBest is like the holding company part of it, ArcBest announced Monday that it had closed on the acquisition of Chicago-based truckload brokerage Moro Solutions. The acquisition price of $235 million upfront cash payment, plus the potential for future earnout payments that could exceed the initial amount. At $600 million in projected 2021 revenue, Moro deal advances ArcBest goals to increase its asset-light operations to a level that is on par with its asset-based trucking unit. The deal will increase ArcBest brokerage revenue to $1.2 billion, double the size of its platform to 70,000 carriers, and make it a top 15 truck broker in the U.S. There you go, man. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. They're moving up in the world. So I like this story because they're actually, being quite honest here. It says, new data suggests truck parking mostly unchanged since Jason's Law came out. Published 6 years ago, Jason's Law survey results are a bit outdated. According to new data from the Trucker Path, the truck parking situation has not changed much. Trucking industry app Trucker Path recently released data about truck parking availability. States are ranked by parking availability in 2 time periods, midday and evening. Essentially, the data represents the parking situation during peak parking hours of lunchtime and overnight rest. Has truck parking changed since Jason's Law survey results were published in 2015? They say not really. And, they cut the truck parking out of the new $1.2 billion infrastructure deal. So it really shows they just don't care. They just don't care. Overnight truck parking is the worst. Says in the article, something every trucker knows and is quantified by Trucker Path data is the fact that the worst time to search for a truck parking spot is when looking for one for the night. Yeah, that's it. According to the data, the state considered to have the most parking available during the evening still had more than 2/3 of parking spots filled. Significantly, only 33% of the app's users parking in South Dakota reported many spaces available, the highest percentage among 50 states. So there you go. South Dakota comes in with the most parking spots available at night, which, hey, how many people are really running through South Dakota? It's just not one of those, it's not a high population trucking state. It says Trucker Path collected data using crowdsourced information. When a trucker checks in a parking spot facility, they let other truckers know if there are many spaces available, some spaces available, or no parking available. That data is collected and compiled in parking stats. According to Trucker Path, more than 10 million parking status submissions are submitted each month. That's a good thing. Be honest with that too. Don't be trying to play games with the Trucker Path. So let's go over the numbers. South Dakota came in number 1, and these are evening parking spots, percentage of open spaces. South Dakota had 33%. Number 2 was Michigan. Michigan with 31.8%. Then it was Vermont, Nevada, Florida, Montana, New York, California, Wyoming, and New Mexico. So apparently those are the top 10 states to find a parking spot at, when you need to park in the afternoon. Some of those states are familiar to truckers looking for an easier time to find overnight truck parking. Others may be surprising. In Jason's Law survey, Owner-Operator Independent Association, OIDA, response indicate Montana, Nevada, New Mexico, South Dakota, and Wyoming all had sufficient supply of parking. On the other hand, they also stated that California, Florida, New York, and Vermont were among the states with the worst parking shortages. Let's see, ranked by the worst. Here's the worst 10%, or here's the worst 10. West Virginia was the worst. I can believe that, man. There is nowhere to park in West Virginia. Very few major truck stop chains in West Virginia. Tennessee is horrible over on the east side. Once you get over like past Knoxville, you pretty much got to run to North Carolina. Massachusetts, Kentucky, Arkansas, Mississippi, New Jersey. I can believe New Jersey. If you can find a parking spot on a side street somewhere, you're lucky over there. Maryland, I get that. Georgia, totally get Georgia. I always say if they built a truck stop on every exit from Chattanooga to Atlanta, it would fill up. It would. If I was going to invest in one of these truck parking lots and pay, like a paid parking lot, that's where I would be looking, somewhere between Chattanooga and Atlanta, or maybe over on 95 somewhere. But Virginia was in the top, or was in that 10 as well. Georgia and Virginia were the last two. Georgia, Maryland, Massachusetts, New Jersey, Virginia are all known problem states based on Jason's Law survey results. However, That survey also indicates that Kentucky has plenty of parking. Yeah, that's not true. Lunchtime is no picnic. It says also, sometimes you can get caught up in the middle of the day trying to find a parking spot. I was trying to pull over and check my oil leak the other day, and middle of the day I pulled into not even a rest area, just a truck parking lot, and there wasn't even a spot there. I had to go on down the road. So yeah, parking can be a nightmare. We all know that. I'm glad Trucker Path is putting that data out like that. I always update Trucker Path when I can, when I think of it, because if the lot really is jam-packed full, I'd rather put on there it's full and, somebody not waste their time stopping and going, maybe they can find something on down the road. And a lot of these little truck stops too, like people never update them. They'll have like 20 parking spots and that thing will be like 5 days since somebody's updated. So, I try to update those as well. Now, here's the story about the thumbnail. Truck crash folds car in half under semi, and then the truck stops on top of it. It is a crazy picture. I swear. Go look at that thumbnail if you didn't glance at it before. But it says, Trooper says, I've never seen anything like it. I believe it. I have never seen anything like it either. That's a Peterbilt on top of a car, and the car's folded in half. It says, a Tuesday crash in Washington State involving a semi and a mangled passenger vehicle was both nightmarish and miraculous, as the motorist somehow survived what could have easily been a fatal crash. Yeah, you look at that picture and tell me, do you think the driver of that car survived? The crash happened around 11 a.m. on Tuesday, November 16th on northbound I-5 at the Skagit River Bridge in Mount Vernon, Washington, according to Washington State Patrol. Rocky Oliphant. The car was struck from behind, folded the car in half, and semi came to a rest on top of it. Absolute craziness. Remarkably, Orbit said that the motorist somehow survived, believed to only have minor injuries. He also said that he was stunned by the level of damage at the crash scene. There was really not a word to describe the collision. In my 14-year career, I've never seen anything like it. Police did not provide additional information. But, it is just crazy. It's just craziness. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but, if you saw a crash that looked like that, would you believe that the person in that car is a survivor? I wouldn't. I would not. I'm sorry. I'm not being pessimistic, but you look at something like that and you're just like, man, say a prayer for the family, But, they survived, and I'm glad to hear that. So that's Trucker News for today, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to Trucker News. If you made it this far, hit the like button. Check out the description for all the links. Merch, Mudflap, what else is down there? Everything's down there. It's just a great place to go check out. Thanks, everybody, for watching. If you're not a subscriber and you made it this far, think about subscribing to the channel. Later. Take care of each other, please.